That's it, I quit. This just ain't my thing. To hell with the exams. It's time for my animal crackers.
Ooh, can I have some too? I want to find the penguin.
Hands off the penguin! It's mine!
NVIDIA has a hole in its class. On early August 16th, the specs for what appeared to be NVIDIA's upcoming RTX 3080 graphics card were spotted on the website User Benchmark. This listing displays the RTX 3080 in particular to have 10 gigabits of GDDR6X VRAM along with a 320-bit bus. This hikes up the memory bandwidth to approximately 760 gigabytes per second, which is a 53% increase over the 2080 Super. And while the upcoming 30 series of cards will run on NVIDIA's new Ampere architecture, the clock speeds still appear to be in line with the previous generation of approximately 2.1 gigahertz. But wait, there's more. The PCI IDs are not only of the alleged 3080, but several other cards have come out as well, with a previous leak as well as supposed benchmarks. So as we understand it, NVIDIA's RTX 30 series will possibly be a slew of around 12 cards, ranging from the high end of the RTX 3090 or possibly 3090 Ti to the lower end of the RTX 3060. The tentatively named RTX 3090 Ti, NVIDIA's alleged super flagship card, will come packed with a 24 gigabytes of GDDR6X VRAM at an eye-watering 21 gigabits per second for a total of 1024 gigabytes per second in terms of bandwidth. That's a whole terabyte per second, just holy shit. But the RTX 3060 will be nothing to scoff at either, featuring a configurations of 6 or 12 gigabytes of GDDR6X VRAM and a total of 456 gigabytes per second of bandwidth. It's not too shabby at all. Of course, these are only rumors, and we'll definitely be able to either confirm or deny them in about 2 weeks during NVIDIA's GeForce Ultimate event on September 1st. Next up is more Samsung news. Yay! Samsung might have the courage to bring back the headphone jack. Yep. According to the leaker MariQHD, who is the credit is fairly reliable, Samsung is considering bringing back the headphone jack as a quote, risk experiment to see what happens, end quote. MariQHD goes on to note that while the Samsung could do it as early as next year's phones, Samsung isn't sure whether to bring back it on the S line or the Note line of phones. While the S line usually launches in late winter to early spring, it's more targeted to normies. He remarks that the egregious amount of media attention it will garner is enticing to Samsung, but on the other hand, the Note line is viewed by Samsung as typically safer for experiments, as well as increasing the value of the Note device. But Samsung doesn't earn nearly as much revenue on the Note line as it does on the S line. I will admit though, this is kind of a self-defeating argument here. If Samsung clearly recognizes that adding the headphone jack would increase the value of the device, why not just bring it back to every device next year? Also, this would imply Samsung recognizes that the value of their phones have diminished since they took away the headphone jack, starting with the Note 10 line of devices. So Samsung, all we have to say is, do it! How about some geopolitics? Foxconn, the world's largest electronic assembler and manufacturer responsible for meeting the supply demands of things like the iPhone, pretty much says China days are numbered, and it aims to shift manufacturing and assembly out of China. Foxconn has begun the shift outside of China in order to avoid costs incurred by the new sanctions placed on the Chinese Communist Party by the President Trump's administration. Since last year, Foxconn has now 30% of their production capacity stationed outside of China, and then relocated to Southeast Asia and India. This is up from 25% capacity in early 2019. While yes, a 5% increase is fairly gradual, manufacturing shifts, especially when it comes to electronics, don't exactly happen overnight. Foxconn chairman Young Liu also remarked that, quote, China's days as the world's factory are over. Given the recent goings-on between US, China, and Taiwan, where Foxconn is headquartered, it should come as no real surprise that Foxconn is trying to shift more and more out of China, just as other companies are. Whether or not the remarks regarding China as the world's factory indicates that China is about ready to transition into a developed country status, whereas the economic pressure due to the sanctions are significantly disrupting China, we'll leave that up to you. Finally, deprecated software blown the f*** out. The US FBI and NSA have issued a joint statement regarding a previously undiscovered form of malware for Linux servers. The agencies report that Russian state hackers are beginning to use this newly discovered exploit to try and breach high-sensitive networks. The malware attack, also known as the Drover toolkit, has 4 primary components: a client that infects Linux devices, a kernel module that uses rootkit tactics to gain persistence and hides its presence from operating systems and security defenses, a server that runs on attacker-operated infrastructure to control infected machines and receive stolen data, and an agent that uses compromised servers or attacker control machines to act as an intermediary between the infected machine devices. Many sensitive networks in the US, even ones that are a matter of national security, run on varying systems of Linux kernels and servers. However, this doesn't spell the end of the world. The NSA and FBI go on to note that the toolkit only works for previous than current versions of the Linux kernel, and that you can make sure all of your security updates are installed, and you're running at least kernel version 3.7. And with that, that's going to do it for this week's tech-related salt. Make sure you like the video, subscribe for more tech content, and hit that notification bell. Follow us on Twitter at tech_for_thought. And if video games are more your thing, check out our affiliate cultureofgaming.com for all of your latest gaming news, reviews, and opinion pieces. See you next time.